Congratulations, Councillor McLaughlin, and please join in welcoming Councillor McLaughlin. I'll now call upon Councillor Todd. Please repeat after me. I, Elton Todd, do solemnly affirm that
I, Alton Toth, do solemnly affirm that
I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the district of Sechelt to which I have been elected.
I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the district of Sechelt to which I have been elected.
I have complied with the provisions of the community charter in relation to my election to this office.
I have complied with the provisions of the community charter in relation to my election to this office.
I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the community charter.
I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the community charter.
I will carry out my duties with integrity.
I will carry out my duties with integrity.
I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties.
I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties.
I will be respectful of others.
I will be respectful of others.
I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration.
I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration.
I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
Thank you. And again, if you can both of those copies. Yeah. Congratulations, and please join me in welcoming Councillor Todd. I'll now call upon Councillor-elect Rowe. First, please repeat after me. I, Brenda Rowe, do solemnly affirm that
I, Brenda Rowe, do solemnly affirm that
I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the district of Sechelt to which I have been elected.
I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the district of Sechelt to which I have been elected.
I have complied with the provisions of the community charter in relation to my election to this office.
I have complied with the provisions of the community charter in relation to my election to this office.
I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the community charter.
I will abide by all rules related to conflict of interest under the community charter.
I will carry out my duties with integrity.
I will carry out my duties with integrity.
I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties.
I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties.
I will be respectful of others.
I will be respectful of others.
I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration.
I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration.
I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
Thank you. Congratulations, and please join in welcoming Councillor Rowe. I'll now call upon Councillor-elect Bell. I, Donna Bell, do solemnly affirm that
I, Donna Bell, do solemnly affirm that
I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the district of Sechelt to which I have been elected.
I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the district of Sechelt to which I have been elected.
I have complied with the provisions of the community charter in relation to my election to this office.
I have complied with the provisions of the community charter in relation to my election to this office.
I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the community charter.
I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the community charter.
I will carry out my duties with integrity.
I will carry out my duties with integrity.
I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties.
I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties.
I will be respectful of others.
I will be respectful of others.
I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration.
I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration.
I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
Congratulations. Please join me in welcoming Councillor Bell. Somebody has to be last. And you were at the front of the line too. I, Adam Shepherd, do solemnly affirm that
I, Adam Shepherd, do solemnly affirm that
I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the district of Sechelt to which I have been elected.
I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the district of Sechelt to which I have been elected.
I have complied with the provisions of the community charter in relation to my election to this office.
I have complied with the provisions of the community charter in relation to my election to this office.
I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the community charter.
I will abide by all rules related to conflicts of interest under the community charter.
I will carry out my duties with integrity.
I will carry out my duties with integrity.
I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties.
I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties.
I will be respectful of others.
I will be respectful of others.
I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration.
I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration.
I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law.
Congratulations. And please join me in welcoming Councillor Shepherd. Thank you once again to the District of Sechelt, and here is your mayor and council for the next 4 years. It's called experience.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out today. On behalf of the council, we're very honored to have so many of you with us for this, our inaugural meeting of the 2022 to 2026 council. I should tell you that I want to thank Judge Merrick, who did, when he swore me in 2011, he only gave me 3 years. But he did tell me that he's getting a little older, so he's getting tougher. So now we get 4 years. We've got the formal part of our meeting, and then I'll make a few comments. But perhaps we can start with calling the meeting to order, and we have an agenda in front of us. Could I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda? Councillor Inkster, and second, Councillor Rowe. Business items. Yeah, cool. So look at this. Yes. So there's our agenda, and now I'd like to call on our Chief Election Officer, Joanne Frank, to submit your report. Where did you go? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's self-explanatory, but just to summarize, per the Local Government Act, it is required that the Chief Election Officer provide the council with the results of the general election within 30 days after the final results were released. So that's the purpose of this report, and attached to the report are the actual official final results. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I have a motion first to accept the report or receive the report? Councillor Toth, and second, Councillor Shepherd. Any discussion? Not, call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. The next one is the item 4.2, the appointment of a deputy mayor. And get to go through there. And it's my pleasure to move the motion that Councillor Brenda Rowe be appointed deputy mayor to serve until December 31st, 2023. There a seconder? Councillor Toth, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Item 4.3, as you can read on the wall, I guess, over there, that Councillor Alton Toth and myself be appointed as directors, representatives to the Sunshine Coast Regional Board. And could I have a second for that? Thank you, Councillor Bell. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. And then, as many in the room will know, the provisions of the regional board are to include or to have alternates. So it's my pleasure to move that Councillors Brenda Rowe and Darren Inkster be appointed as alternates to act in place of any absent district and Seashell director pursuant to section 203B of the Local Government Act. Could I have a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. Any discussion? Then all in favor? Motion carries. I'd just like to add here that my intention is, and I'll have more to say about this in my comments, but my intention is that the regional district directors are normally appointed for 1 year. However, it's my intention to serve as sea shelter representative for 6 months, at which time I intend to hand over the responsibilities to one of our alternatives. I think for now, there's nothing more important to all of us than water. And even since the election, this issue has become more serious. I believe I can contribute to solving our short-term and long-term water supply issues as a regional district director, but I'll have more to say about that in a few minutes. I'd also mention that we're about, I believe it's about 20 other committees that councillors are involved in, asked to participate in, community groups and other entities. So everybody here is going to be busy. We've been talking about how to allocate that workload, and we will deal with that as a business matters at our first council meeting and second council meeting in 2 weeks. Now we get to the good stuff, signing authorities. Again, my recommendation to council that councillors Adam Shepherd and Alton Toth and myself be appointed as signing authorities for the district of Sechelt. Councillor Rowe, thank you. Seconder. Oh no, I moved it, so it's the second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone. I think I'm going to go to the lectern. I've got some comments about some pretty, I think, things that are pretty important, and so if you'll indulge me. Try not to get too much feedback. Should say I had the honor of attending the inaugural meeting of the town of Gibsons, and I felt compelled to try to outdo Mayor White's comments, so mine are maybe 1 page longer than yours. Thank you everyone for attending tonight, and a special thank you to Judge Merrick, acting Staff Sergeant Jennifer Conti, oh, there you are, Corporal Leslie Gagg, and BC Sheriff Service Sergeant Jeff Dan. Good to see some of you again, and nice to meet some of you. Oh, and a big shout out to shout out to Brian Harbison for leading us in Canada. I want to also welcome all the elected officials in the room. I know we've got a couple, at least, or 3, I believe, from the town of Gibsons, and I've seen some of the regional district representatives come in, so thank you. As your new council, each of us has just sworn an oath to work to the best of our abilities for the people of Sechelt. On behalf of my fellow members of council, you can count on us. We're at a time where certain issues are at a crisis point. We need action now on water, safety, housing, transportation, to name a few. The voters have been loud and clear. No more studies. We must think outside the box. We must roll up our sleeves and get these things done. To that end, your council is a diverse group with a wide range of experiences. And it's fair to say we're by no means united, and I think that's a good thing. I expect we will have vigorous debates on many issues, but I promise you we will be decisive and results oriented. I encourage you to continue communicating with us, respectfully please, with your constructive and practical ideas and solutions. Judge Merrick and I didn't get our act together, but I was going to thank the people that ran and were unsuccessful, and I wouldn't name them. I want to thank someone here to know. So thank you, Anna Chen, Cheryl Chang, Chris Moore, Mickey Argyropoulos, Tim Honger, Tom Bramble, and Warren Allen. And of course, Al Holt and Jerry Patterson. It's real dedication to step up, and doing so shows your passion for our great town. On behalf of all of us, thank you. I also want to thank the councillors who did not seek re-election and are therefore free. Please join me in appreciating Janice Feaster, Matt McLean, Eric Scott, and Tom Lamb. And finally, a very special thanks to Darnell, who's been a dedicated and worked so hard for 11 years. There are no words that can express it, the debt of gratitude that Seashell has for you. So thank you. We have a challenging road ahead with difficult decisions that need to be made and possibly expensive solutions that will be needed. Tonight, I'd like to outline some of my priorities. Water. We all agree that water is our top priority. Stage 4 and even stage 3 ever again is unacceptable. We can't wait for this to be fixed. The financial cost to taxpayers from these restrictions have probably been in the millions of dollars. And there's other non-financial impacts, of course. But from farmers who've been unable to water, to people losing their gardens, and some people have told me about losing their new cedar hedges for the second year in a row, to restrictions on using our recreation facilities, to impacts on tourism, and to our image across Canada and beyond. In conjunction with world-class industry experts, I want us and expect us to deliver the water supply we need. Even with the strong work done over the last several years on engineering the Church Road and Langdale wells, we need more supply to be totally secure. Also, we must continue to diversify our sources away from Chapman Lake. Putting all our eggs in that one basket is risky, and it's unnecessary. We need sources in Seashell and elsewhere to make our overall water system more resilient. While I'm open to other options, it is clear to me that the easiest and fastest solution is to drill a well on the District of Seashell land on Dusty Road immediately. I understand this has the potential to deliver as much as 20% of the supply that we currently have in the water supply from Chapman Lake. These are significant numbers and the costs are affordable. Best news is that drilling can be completed in less than 3 months, which could provide additional water supply before next summer. Of course, for this to happen, we will need all orders of government to acknowledge the urgency and accept that they may need to change their processes. Since, as far as I'm concerned, this is an emergency and we need to do it. Looking to the long term, we must expand our supply of water in a sustainable manner to supply the future for many decades. Several options have been discussed for many, many years, from Clone to Saginaw Lakes, Rainy River, reservoirs, and more. However, these are expensive and technically complex. As such, I will shortly be putting forward a motion to the Regional District Board proposing the creation of a water agency composed of elected officials with input from industry experts to provide guidance, direction, and support to our hardworking regional district staff so we can implement the best innovative and practical solutions. Water is simply too important. It must be the focus of a standalone agency whose sole mandate is to deliver the long-term supply adequate to meet our needs for many decades to come. Turning to another priority, many of you will relate to this, unfortunately, and that is the matter of community safety. Even in the short time since the election, I've heard more and more about the challenges facing our businesses and residents. And the stories weigh heavily on me. There's an older lady, widowed, who lives in the village, and she expressed to me her fear of going outside, leaving her apartment. The children at the dance academies on Wharf Street that feel they're seeing too many things, they're in too many scary situations that are simply unacceptable. A bus driver who told me he really worries about his working on the evening shifts. And of course, the businesses who have had to deal with unmentionable situations when they go to work in the morning. So tonight I'm announcing the creation of the Community Safety Committee for the District of Sechelt, which I will chair with the support of my council. The committee will focus on protecting our residents and businesses in what seems to be an increasingly lawless environment. The committee will invite select members of the community to help us identify practical solutions that we can implement to help make our citizens feel safe again in our town. I should explain this committee will not address the needs of those in our community who are homeless or who suffer from addictions or mental health issues. Such services and supports are very important, and they are the provincial government's responsibility. So I, and I'm sure I'll be joined with my fellow councillors, will work tirelessly to ensure the province delivers on their obligations. Another priority is, of course, housing. We've been, during the election, many of us heard we can't have any development. And I'm of the view that that's unrealistic and it's unnecessary. We can and we will get water, but we desperately need housing for people, whether the people that will help build this, build the homes that we need. And it's also, we need to attract people to work in so many parts of our community. We need suitable, affordable housing for them to live in. And I think that's the key point. It's not any building that we need, it is building of the right kinds of development to balance out our community. Looking ahead, we face several other challenges. We share so much with our neighbors, the Sechelt people. I'm honored to count many members as my friends, and I look forward to working together with them on practical solutions to the common challenges we face. At the same time, I hope the Chief and Council will engage with us proactively so we can build an even stronger community together. Coming back to us and Council, you can count on us to deliver policies and bylaws based on real, verifiable data and facts. For example, I personally have serious concerns about the lack of specific information that is available on short-term rentals. I worry that we're going down a path that will not address the legitimate concerns of residents, but it will harm our tourism and related sectors and generally make us less attractive to all. It's also time, after I believe it's 11 years at least since the last official community plan was finalized, we update our vision for Sechelt, and with this produce a new official community plan. I envision a committee of council that will focus on this and reach out to the community, to all of you for your input, recognizing this process is about designing the Sechelt of the future. Sechelt for our children and for our grandchildren and beyond. We also, another component, we also know about the infrastructure challenges we have faced for years. A poor excuse for a highway, an aged and failing ferry system, and more. Fact is, our aging infrastructure needs are more important and more urgent than ever. I'm committed to aggressively advocating to other governments, especially the provincial and federal governments, to better support us in our efforts to redress our infrastructure deficit. This includes supporting specific actions in anticipation. We have to get ahead of things like sea level rise and storm surges. And we will do that. Finally, as some of you know, I celebrate and embrace innovation. Innovation is the key to solving many of our challenges. We must be open to trying new things that innovation typically contemplates. You go back in history, Those willing to be innovative and take risks have delivered extraordinary results. Seashell and the Sunshine Coast are in an ideal position to be a community of innovation. We've done it many times before. From a little TV series that had no hope of success, but is in reruns 50 years later. We have a unique world-class caviar operation, which we tend to forget, but they still are producing. Anyways, wonderful. We have an award-winning wastewater treatment facility. And we have our own homegrown world champion, mountain biker. If you haven't met Gracie Henstreet, you will. I don't think Gracie's here, is she? But my point is that when we're open to innovation, when we're open to celebrating success, great things will happen. So I hope you'll join me in being receptive to new ideas and to joining together to celebrate our successes. This is one of the things that will make Seashell even better. In closing, my thanks to everyone for your confidence in me and in your confidence for all of these great people on council. I look forward to working with each and every one of you, and I thank you all again for your confidence and your support. Thank you. Exactly what people do that. Okay, then take the clicker. Look at that. Unless there's any other business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillor Todd, Councillor Rowe, thank you. I'm already being coached.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes. We're going to have fun. Yes, thank you. I want to thank staff. I want to thank Councillor Rowe for reminding me to thank staff. But I do want to appreciate, and I won't name all of you because I'll miss some of you, but I appreciate all of you being here tonight and all the hard work dealing with some of the last minute panics that came up. But thank you guys so much for what you're doing. And I know I speak on behalf of all of us that we look forward to working with all of you. So thank you. And so it's, I think now, Tracy, there you are. So we got snacks at the back. And I hope you'll just stick around and talk to us and tell us what's on your mind. And we look forward to